Every morning at 6 a.m., she guided her students through breathing exercises and meditation poses. For 8 years, Maya Rodriguez had been Zenith Fitness Center's most beloved yoga instructor, teaching inner peace, mindfulness, and finding balance in a chaotic world. Her students saw her as the embodiment of serenity, a gentle soul who spoke in whispers and moved like flowing water. Until armed terrorists stormed the fitness center during her morning class, and everyone discovered that Maya wasn't just trained in ancient Eastern practices, she was a former Navy SEAL who had spent 12 years mastering the deadliest combat techniques known to modern warfare. Welcome to our channel. Before we continue this powerful story of hidden strength, dual identities, and a warrior who chose peace until peace was no longer an option, tell me in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, hit that subscribe button and help us honor those who serve in ways we never expect. Zenith Fitness Center's Studio B was Maya Rodriguez's sacred space. Soft lighting filtered through frosted windows, essential oils diffused calming scents into the air, and peaceful instrumental music created an atmosphere where stressed minds could finally rest. At 32, Maya had built something beautiful here, a community of people seeking balance in their chaotic lives. "Good morning, everyone," Maya said softly, her voice carrying the kind of warmth that made people feel instantly safe. "Let's begin today's practice by setting an intentio. What do you want to cultivate in your life?" 15 students sat cross-legged on their mats, eyes closed, breathing deeply. There was Jennifer, a busy executive who came to decompress from corporate stress. David, a construction worker dealing with chronic back pain. Sarah, a new mother struggling with postpartum anxiety. Each person had found their way to Maya's class seeking something they couldn't name: peace, strength, healing. Maya moved among them with fluid grace, her long black hair tied in a simple bun, wearing comfortable leggings and a tank top that revealed arms toned from years of practice. To her students, Maya's strength looked purely spiritual, the kind that came from meditation and mindful movement, not physical training. What they didn't know was that every movement Maya demonstrated had been perfected in places far more dangerous than a yoga studio. Before she became their teacher, Maya had been Petty Officer First Class Maya Rodriguez, one of only a handful of women to complete Navy SEAL training. For 12 years, she had operated in the world's most hostile environments, conducting missions that required the kind of physical and mental discipline that yoga practitioners spend lifetimes trying to achieve. Maya had retired at 28, burned out from a decade of warfare, and desperate to find meaning beyond destruction. Yoga had saved her life during those dark transition years, teaching her to channel her warrior training into something healing rather than harmful. The breathing techniques that once kept her calm under enemy fire now helped her students manage anxiety. The physical strength that had carried wounded teammates to safety now supported people learning to trust their bodies again. "Let's move into warrior pose," Maya instructed, demonstrating the strong stance with perfect alignment. Feel your feet rooted to the earth, your core engaged, your gaze focused ahead. The irony wasn't lost on her. Even in peace, she was still teaching people to be warriors, just a different kind. The morning class was flowing beautifully. Maya had guided her students through sun salutations, standing poses, and was transitioning into the more challenging sequences when she noticed something that made her hyper-aware senses activate, sounds that didn't belong in their peaceful sanctuary. Heavy footsteps in the hallway, multiple people moving with purpose rather than the casual pace of gym members, voices speaking in clipped, urgent tones that carried a different energy than the usual fitness center chatter. Maya continued teaching, but her awareness had shifted into a mode she hadn't accessed in 4 years. Her voice remained calm and soothing as she guided students through poses, but every sense was now gathering tactical intelligence. "Breathe deeply as you hold this position," Maya said softly, while mentally cataloging exit points, potential weapons, and civilian protection priorities. "Remember, yoga teaches us to find stillness even in challenging moments." Through the studio's glass wall, Maya caught sight of 3 men in dark clothing moving through the main fitness floor. They weren't dressed for working out, and their body language screamed military training, but not the disciplined kind Maya recognized from her Navy days. This was something harder, more ruthless, One of them was speaking into a radio. Another was positioning himself near the main entrance. The third was moving toward the group fitness studios. Maya's blood ran cold as her SEAL training provided instant analysis, coordinated movement, professional positioning, tactical communication. This wasn't random violence, it was a planned operation. "Let's move into child's pose," Maya instructed, her voice never wavering from its peaceful tone. "Rest your forehead on your mat and breathe." As her students settled into the resting position, Maya made a decision that would reveal everything she had spent 8 years hiding. She moved to the studio's sound system and activated the emergency lockdown she had personally installed when she first started teaching, a feature the fitness center assumed was for medical emergencies. The studio doors locked automatically, emergency lighting activated, and Maya's students, still in child's pose with their eyes closed, had no idea their yoga instructor had just transformed their sanctuary into a tactical stronghold. "Everyone, please stay exactly where you are and keep breathing," Maya said, her voice still gentle but now carrying an undertone of authority that made people listen without question. "We're going to practice staying calm in an unexpected situation." Through the glass wall, Maya could see the armed men had taken control of the main fitness area. Gym members were being forced to the ground while the attackers established perimeter control. Maya counted at least 6 hostiles, all carrying automatic weapons, all moving with the kind of coordination that spoke to serious training. Jennifer, the executive, lifted her head slightly. "Maya, what's happening?" "There's been a security incident in the building," Maya replied calmly. "We're safe in here, but I need everyone to follow my instructions exactly. Trust me, I know what I'm doing." Something in Maya's tone, a quiet confidence that hadn't been there during normal classes, made her students look at her with new attention. She was still their peaceful yoga teacher, but there was something else now, something that commanded absolute trust. Maya moved to a concealed panel behind her meditation altar that none of her students had ever noticed. Inside was equipment that no yoga instructor should possess: tactical radio, emergency beacon, and in Sig Sauer P320 that she had hoped never to touch again. "Maya," David whispered, staring at the weapon, "what the hell is that?" Maya's answer would change everything her students thought they knew about inner peace and spiritual strength. "I'm former Navy SEAL," Maya said simply, checking the weapon with movements so fluid they looked like part of a yoga sequence. "For 12 years, I specialized in hostage rescue and counterterrorism. Today, I'm going to use that training to keep you safe." The silence in the studio was absolute. 15 people who had trusted Maya to guide them through meditation were now processing that their gentle teacher was one of the most elite warriors in the world. Sarah, the new mother, started to cry. "Are we going to die?" Maya knelt beside her with the same gentle presence she brought to every class, the weapon secured but visible. "Sarah, look at me. In all the time you've known me, have I ever let you feel unsafe?" Sarah shook her head. "Then trust me now. We're going to get through this together, but I need you to do exactly what I say when I say it. Can you do that?" Sarah nodded, along with the rest of the class. Maya activated her tactical radio and spoke in a voice none of her students had ever heard: crisp, professional, military. "This is former Petty Officer Maya Rodriguez requesting immediate federal response. Multiple armed hostiles have taken control of Zenith Fitness Center. I have 15 civilians secured in Studio B. Request SWAT backup and tactical coordination." What happened next was a masterclass in crisis leadership from someone who had been trained to protect lives in the world's most dangerous situations. Maya seamlessly blended her SEAL expertise with the trust and calm she had built through 8 years of yoga instruction. "Everyone, we're going to do something I call tactical breathing," Maya said, settling cross-legged in front of her students. "It's based on the same techniques I've been teaching you, but with a specific purpose. When we're scared, our breathing becomes shallow and our thinking gets cloudy. We're going to prevent that." She guided them through breathing exercises that were indeed rooted in yoga practice, but Maya's students didn't know these were also techniques used by special operations forces to maintain clarity under extreme stress. 4 counts in, hold for 4, 4 counts out, hold for 4, Maya instructed. "This isn't just about staying calm, it's about staying smart. Fear makes people do dangerous things. Calm people make good decisions." Through the radio, Maya was coordinating with responding officers while simultaneously managing 15 terrified civilians. Her voice alternated between the warrior speaking to tactical command and the teacher keeping her students centered. Hostile count is 6, armed with automatic weapons, controlling main fitness floor, she reported to SWAT. Then, to her students, "You're doing beautifully. Keep breathing. We're exactly where we need to be." Maya's 8 years of teaching had given her something most SEAL operations never provided: deep personal relationships with the people she was protecting. She knew Jennifer's anxiety triggers, David's bad knee, Sarah's postpartum stress. This wasn't just tactical protection, it was caring for people she had come to love. "Maya," Jennifer whispered, "how long have you been what you are?" "I retired from the Navy 4 years before I started teaching here," Maya replied honestly. "Yoga saved my life when I was transitioning out of military service. It taught me that strength isn't just about fighting. It's about healing, protecting, nurturing. Everything I've learned about peace, I learned after I learned about war." "But you never told us," David said. "Because that part of my life was over," Maya explained. "I chose to become someone who creates peace instead of someone who destroys threats. But sometimes, to protect peace, you have to be willing to fight for it." Through the glass, Maya could see the hostiles were becoming agitated. Their operation wasn't going as planned, and desperate people with weapons made dangerous decisions. Maya made a choice that would define whether her students saw her as their yoga teacher or as the warrior she had never stopped being. At 7:23 a.m., the situation escalated. One of the gunmen approached Studio B and began trying to force the reinforced door. Maya's emergency lockdown was holding, but she knew it wouldn't last forever against determined assault. "Everyone, move to the back corner and get into child's pose," Maya instructed. "Stay low, stay quiet, and whatever happens, don't look up until I tell you." Her students moved without question. 8 years of following Maya's guidance had built trust that transcended their shock at learning who she really was. Maya positioned herself between her students and the door, weapon ready, but hoping she wouldn't need to use it. Through her radio, she could hear SWAT teams positioning outside, but they were still minutes away. The gunman succeeded in breaching the door. What he found wasn't a room full of helpless yoga practitioners. He found Maya Rodriguez in a shooting stance that belonged in special operations training, completely calm, absolutely lethal, and protecting people she would die for. "You have 3 seconds to drop your weapon and surrender," Maya said in a voice that carried 12 years of combat authority. After that, this becomes a very different conversation. The gunman hesitated. He had expected scared civilians, not a professional warrior who moved like water, but struck like lightning. He made the wrong choice. What happened next lasted exactly 4 seconds and demonstrated why fewer than 1% of people who attempt Navy SEAL training actually complete it. Maya neutralized the threat with techniques that her yoga students recognized as movements they had seen before, but performed with speed, precision, and lethal effectiveness that belonged in a completely different world. When SWAT teams breached the building 2 minutes later, they found the primary threat eliminated. 5 remaining hostiles surrendered, and 15 civilians safe under the protection of a yoga instructor who had never forgotten how to be a warrior when warriors were needed. The aftermath was unlike anything Maya's students had expected. Instead of trauma and fear, they found themselves part of something extraordinary, a community that had been protected by someone who embodied both peace and strength in ways none of them had imagined possible. "I need you all to know something," Maya said as they waited for debriefing interviews. "Everything I taught you about finding balance, about breathing through difficulty, about being present in challenging moments, that wasn't a lie. That's exactly how you survived today." Jennifer looked up from where she was sitting, no longer the stressed executive, but someone who had discovered reserves of calm she didn't know she possessed. "Maya, I've never felt so safe and so scared at the same time." "That's what courage is," Maya replied. "It's not the absence of fear. It's acting with love and protection even when you're afraid." The media coverage focused on the dramatic elements. Yoga instructor reveals Navy SEAL past, fitness center hostage situation, decorated veteran saves students. But Maya's class understood something deeper. They had learned that strength comes in many forms, that the person teaching them to find inner peace was someone who had mastered outer warfare and chosen to use that mastery in service of healing rather than harm. That the breathing techniques helping them manage stress were the same ones that had kept their teacher alive in combat zones. Most importantly, they learned that warriors don't always carry weapons. Sometimes they carry yoga mats and teach people how to find the courage that was always inside them. Maya continued teaching at Zenith Fitness Center for 3 more years before opening her own studio, Warrior Peace Yoga, where strength meets serenity. Her classes became legendary, not just for the physical practice, but for the deep understanding of resilience that Maya brought to every session. Students came from across the country to learn from the yoga instructor who had faced down armed terrorists and emerged not just victorious, but more committed than ever to teaching peace. Maya's story became a teaching example in both military and civilian circles, how warriors can transition from destruction to healing, how strength can serve love instead of fear. The 15 students who were with Maya that morning became more than yoga practitioners. They became a family united by the understanding that protection can come from the most unexpected sources, that peace is not passive, but requires active courage, and that the greatest warriors are often those who choose to fight for others' ability to live without fear. Maya proved that service takes many forms. Some people protect their communities by carrying weapons, others by carrying the wisdom to help people find strength they didn't know they possessed. The most powerful warriors are those who understand that the ultimate victory isn't defeating enemies, it's creating a world where people can breathe deeply, move freely, and find peace in their own bodies and minds. Now I ask you, have you ever encountered someone whose gentle presence made you feel both peaceful and protected at the same time? Share their story in the comments, and if this story reminds you that strength and serenity can coexist in the same person, subscribe to Faces Behind Stories. We honor those who serve through healing as much as those who serve through fighting. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is the ability to help others find their inner warrior.